When something unexpected, unpleasant happens, sometimes we fail to accept the reality and we start blaming ourselves or we blame someone else. Doesn't matter we are blaming ourselves or blaming someone else. It affects us negatively. We feel lots of stress, anxiety, depression, emotional distancing in relationship. We feel that our rational thinking is temporarily paralyzed. We get stuck into the endless loop of blaming. Hello, my dear ones. I'm Dr. Kashika Jain. I'm a clinical psychologist. In this video, I will talk about in detail about blaming. It's a cognitive distortion, means a wrong thinking pattern which affects you negatively. But before I explain, I want you to download my mobile app. Just type my name and download my mobile app. Do breathing exercises every day, experience beautiful, amazing meditations every day. Now let's understand how blaming affects your brain negatively. When you continuously blame yourself or someone else, your amygdala gets triggered and it senses it's really a real time threat. Lots of cortisol, lots of adrenaline releases in your system and you feel panic. Your fight flight mode gets starts and your sympathetic nervous system by overstimulation and by your amygdala overstimulation, you start having more negative thoughts and you feel lots of discomfort physically as well. You become more reactive because you didn't accept the reality. You start fighting with the reality. So you say harsh word to yourself, you say harsh word to other persons as well. You start hurting yourself and other person, and that creates emotional distancing. Other persons feels offended. They also start giving you clarification or arguing you or become aggressive. You both fight psychologically or sometimes physically as well. You say your point very harshly. You become argumentative, aggressive, or sometimes more violent. And the other persons, if responds in the same way, then situation gets more worst. And when your amygdala is overstimulated and there is rush of cortisol or adrenaline in your system, then temporarily your prefrontal cortex stops working rightly. Rather than finding the solution, rather than thinking how to move on, how to change this reality in positive sense, your prefrontal cortex indulge into justifying just that blame and start searching the ideas how to protect you because your amygdala continuously giving the wrong signals and your prefrontal cortex, rather than finding the solution, it starts overanalyzing, ruminating, or justifying the blame. In a way, you are harming your system. Also, you are creating emotional distance, or it may break your relationship forever. And also, you waste your time, you waste your energy. Instead of taking responsibility, instead of accepting the reality, you are in fight mode where the conclusion is not coming, where the consequences are all negative. Because when you argue, when you blame, other person becomes defensive. They just give their clarification and that clarification is not accepted to you at all. So you just cut their point. You blame them and they again try to justify their point. Sometimes you become so harsh towards you, you become self critical, you literally torture yourself. No matter you are blaming yourself or someone else, it's affecting you negatively. You feel sleepless night, the constant overthinking loop. where the hypothetical worries also attacks you. You feel lots of doubts, you feel like that this should happen this way, or this shouldn't happen this way. So, no matter how much you doubt yourself or you have doubt on other person, you end up with more frustration without forming any conclusion. And the results of blaming are always negative. Temporarily, your brain gives you illusion that you are not mistaken, that was the mistake of other person, or the situations or the events happened that way. So just relax and you feel a temporarily relief because dopamine releases in your system. But that's really unhealthy way to feel that dopamine rush, because when you remain in blame zone, you feel stuck and you don't take responsibility. You don't shift your energy. You don't put your efforts to move on. And life is all about moving on. When you stuck into something that destroys you inside, you waste your time, you waste your resources, you spoil your relationship, you become self critical, you start doubting yourself, your confidence lowers, and you feel a decline in your rational thinking. You feel automatically fearful of taking decisions or taking new actions. So understand, you're not supposed to blame yourself. Allow yourself to commit mistakes. That's completely normal. And also allow other persons to make mistakes. That's also completely normal. Don't expect someone to do everything rightly. And also don't expect from yourself to do everything rightly. Because sometimes what happens, no matter how much efforts you put, even then, things don't fall in your way, because other factors also plays important role. Because other factors also play important role, then situation is always beyond your control. You have partial control, so do your best and appreciate your efforts. But don't expect everything to be perfect and everything must be always in your favor, because that's not possible. When you lack in accepting the reality, then only you enter into panic zone, you overreact, and you start blaming yourself or other person. And that for sure impacts your relationship. People start losing faith in you because they feel fearful if things will not fall in your way, so you will blame them. So they start cutting off. They start making distance. They don't want to team up with you. And also, you spoil your public image as well. And also, lots of cortisol and adrenaline rush in your brain or unhealthy dopamine also spoils your physical and mental health as well. And you harm your prefrontal cortex. So understand, you need to shift yourself from blaming to responsibility zone. Be responsible and accept the reality and prepare yourself for this thing that every time things will not fall in my way. Sometime something unexpected will come my way. I simply need to accept it, then look for it. Why this happened? What could I have done better? Or now what can I do to make it accordingly? So when you allow other persons and self to make the necessary arrangements, modifications in that process, and you continuously take action, you take responsibility, you're always ready for change, and you appreciate for what you did well, what other person did well. And when you do all these things, you notice that now you don't stuck into that situation, you don't blame, rather you appreciate the efforts, rather you embrace whatever happened, and you remain flexible, and with your resilience power you put your best efforts and you improve. And when you improve, automatically things falls in your way. And even if after putting so many efforts, if something it's not falling your way, then accept it. This is life. When you reject the reality of the life, when you start fighting it with it, then only you feel tortured. So when you are blaming someone else, so understand you are torturing yourself. And when you directly blaming yourself, so you understand that you're torturing yourself. But even you blaming someone else, in those moments you are torturing yourself, because other person will create distance from you, and that will leave you even more bad feelings. No one wants to feel blamed. People usually become defensive. So stop blaming. Just talk to them normally and understand the reasons why that thing didn't happen your way. And just always look for the area of improvements. And then work together as a team and have faith on others as well, that all the persons are associated with you, they want your welfare. Just show some maturity and shift into responsibility zone. Just be grateful and be cordial with everyone. So, my dear ones, I hope now you understand what are the negative consequences of remaining in blame zone, and now how you can shift from blaming to responsibility zone. And you will notice when you have shifted from blaming to responsibility zone, your fight flight mode automatically gets off. You feel relieved because the cortisol and adrenaline level goes down. And when you take real actions, so you feel a real dopamine hit. That's completely natural and healthy dopamine you feel in your body. And when you receive some reward, like some result, positive results through your actions, so then you feel sense of achievement, and that sense of achievement gives you a kick. Why you feel that kick, motivation? Because real dopamine, healthy dopamine is now releasing in your body, and you don't lose your relationships as well. You don't compromise your sleep, you eat well, you sleep well, you hang out with your friends, you normally live your life beautifully, even if something unexpected, unpleasant happens. So this is the way of right living and staying relaxed, remaining detached from all your worries. So, my dear ones, I hope you understood it well. Now, share this video with other persons as well, so that they can also shift themselves from blame to responsibility zone. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please do so. It means a lot to me. Like this video, leave a beautiful comment for me. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care.